Yeah, I'm ready. Are you ready? Okay, good. Hello, everybody. Grady Polson here, the America Agency. Beyond excited to be on here with you today. Our guest trainer coming up here shortly, Mr. Jonathan Pineda, is a see, there's many words I can use to describe, but he will make an impact on you. And I'll use other words later as I describe him, but get ready to be impacted by someone who has made it happen at such a high level so fast that it's going to shock you to believing in yourself that you can actually go out there and do it too. And that's what's so fun about this business is that as the Roger Bannister effect of life happens and people continue to think that it is impossible to do things until someone does it. And then once someone does it, it gives everyone else permission to go out there and do it. That's the Jonathan Pineda. And I'm going to give him some more flowers here in a second, but a party is always more fun with more people. So take the website you're on, whether you're joining us on Instagram with the best business ever, whether you're on Facebook live right now, trying to make sure you share it to those other Facebook groups like we did last time. That went really well. Or you are joining us on YouTube, or you're live on our website. All places are wonderful to join us, watch us live. John is an absolute machine when it comes to sales. Over 900,000 issue paid last year on his own personal pen in his first year. 900. And now he's sitting on a team that he is coaching, building, believing into, that are rising up with him, doing 1.2 million a month in monthly issue paid premium. John is a machine, and you're about to be blown away. And I'm going to do as fast as I can to get through these updates to put you guys in a position where you can learn from someone who is making it happen at such a significant level. It will give you belief into yourself. So real quick, drop in the comments below where you're joining me from. This chat isn't working here, trying to just refresh the page. Oh, there we go. It's under comments. Got it. Oh, shit. I'm sorry. Kids show. See? Kids show. All right. We're figuring it out. But drop in the chat where you're coming from. I want to say hi to some of you. I did. I screwed it up. Jade, will you fix this or someone? There we go. I apologize. See, John, it's not perfect, but we'll get this thing here going about 15 seconds. I give it to Jade, or we can get in. Why don't we do it? Thank you for your patience. What's up, Harold? All right. Boom. What's up? There we go. Perfect. All right. Good to see it. Oh, this thing's making sound now. I'm going to go crazy. Here, let's get out of here. I'm going to throw this. This is what's fun. See, you're live. You can tell it's a live show. It's all right. Just put it back to the other one. Go to this feed and then hand it back to me, please. All right. Here we go. Do some updates. Jade's fixing my iPad, and then we'll get things. But let's rip through some updates. And thank you for your patience. If you're joining us from somewhere, welcome. Happy you're here. And as I said before, a party is more fun with more people. So happy you guys are here. But right now, starting tomorrow, our lead center, which people go. So let me tell you a quick story. I was talking to a young man yesterday. He said, I'm at XYZ company, and I'm really not happy with where I'm at. They don't have enough leads for me. And I wasn't planning on starting my career here and quickly wanting to leave it and join someplace else, but they just don't have any leads, and they're holding them, and they'll only give leads to people that are issue paying over $10,000 a month. He's like, I'm brand new to this business. I don't have any production yet, so I can't even access the leads. And they told me to wait next month. They may have more leads. And so I'm talking on the phone with him real quick. And he says to me, I say real quick, let me pull up our company's lead center. So we partner with a company called Integrity Marketing Group. They're based in Dallas, Texas. They own about 200 FFLs, and they do their absolute best to have hundreds of thousands of leads available at the ready. Where do you live? I live in California. Okay, 1 second. California. Oh, right now we have working. Thank you. We have 3,500 brand new leads in California alone right now. And he was like, oh my God, I would do anything to have any leads. And I said, the best news is they're $18. They're $18. brand new, get yourself some brand new leads and put yourself in a position where you can take care of your family. He's 29, young guy, wants to get out of barbering, and he just had a baby and he's looking at insurance. That's the opportunity we have. He's an entrepreneur already. He's cuts hair, but now he wants to sell insurance, and he lives in California, and we've got 3,500 brand new leads available for $18. That's the opportunity we have. So right now, Life Center, 50% off gold life leads. In some selective states, California, Florida, Georgia, Illinois, Michigan, Ohio. What's funny? Oh, good. Perfect. There you go. California, Georgia, Michigan, Ohio, and Texas. And so all these things this is our opportunity. So to see that green 25, 50% off the gold life lead. I just checked China. We looked this up in California alone. These gold life leads, which are like a month aged, there's 3,487 of them for $6 each in California. 3 months old. And now for 50% off code, they're $3. $3 for leads. And it puts you in a position where you can contact someone that's interested in life insurance. That's an incredible business model we have here, guys. So get excited. I'm excited every day, as you can tell. And we're rolling for him. Jared Christ has an office for him. Appreciate you, bro. All right. My favorite CRM, and I'm playing favorites now because I've never seen anything like this. The production from the agents that I know that are using this is unprecedented. To Jamie Cherio, Josh Lockhart, Hall of Fame producers. I said, Jamie, when I was telling someone, I was like, Jamie's written over $1 million of life insurance. He goes, no, I've written over $2 million of life insurance. And I was like, oh, I apologize. And so $2 million of life insurance, Jamie. Josh has written millions of dollars of life insurance over his career. They were trying to find a way to run their business better. So 2 years ago, they set out, started creating their own personal CRM to make it run better, communication, automation, client booking, etc. And from that has spiraled into hundreds of thousands of dollars they've personally invested into this product, making it what it is. They had it for their small team. And I said, guys, you got to let a few of my agents start using it. They said, okay. One guy started using it. He ended up writing $900,000 last year with it, Drake Jeremani. And now I'm doing my best to help them grow a little business with them. But it's at the same time, I'm helping them. I'm by promoting it, not helping them like any Grady. Just got to be clear. Everyone's like counting each other's money around here. But Lead Champ Pro, it's absolutely fantastic as a CRM goes because of what it does from an AI standpoint. ChatGPT, AI, DeepSeek, NVIDIA, all of the buzzwords of tech right now. If any of you have any money and you're watching the market, CNBC, etc., AI is the future of everything. And to look at what they did with AI inside their communication bot, agents are waking up with 10, 12, 15, 18 appointments because when the clients fill out their lead forms, the AI communicates with them immediately and starts to have that conversation, booking them automatically on their calendar. I can't explain it well enough, but I've been blown away with the production people are having. Go to their website, Lead Champ Pro. It's $297. If you use code FFL, knocks it down. It's $50 off, which is huge. So $50 off, but go book a demo, talk to them, see what it's done and what it could do for your business. If you're selling under 10, under 15,000 a month right now, don't do it yet. It's not worth even looking into. Why? Because you need to figure out how to sell more right now. And you should be doing that off paper and disciplining yourself and putting in the effort to hit higher levels of production. Any top producers, this should be a cornerstone of your business. And if you're a manager, they've got a manager function that you can override and oversee your entire team's business. But I've been blown away by it because they wrote like 800 automations and there's like 150 touch points to clients and think about it and all these things. And I'm selling it a little bit because I've been so impressed with how good it works. Because if Grady Polson was back at day one, dialing the phone, trying to make money for him and Chantel and my 4 kids, I would have this CRM. I'd be spending $5,000 a week on leads, and I'd be writing $25,000 to $40,000 every single week because I'd be using technology and effort to make it happen. So check it out. It's worth your time. A couple more updates and we'll get on with this. Shout out to Francesca Sapes. So proud of her. Over $600,000 issued in life business. She was agent spotlight from corporate this week. So beyond proud of her. You would have caught her on stage last 3 weeks ago at convention. She did a phenomenal job speaking on stage at convention and just tearing it up. So brand proud of you, Francesca. And then Colton Collins, building a huge team. He's got his production numbers up here. Over 250 writers he has on his agency right now. Huge numbers. And good congratulations to you, Colton, getting some corporate love. Double love this week. Cancun retreat qualifiers. Elizabeth J works with FFL Nationwide financial firm. That is Digna's mouthful of an agency, but all around great team she's got there. And then congratulations to Elizabeth J. I also saw in somewhere else that, who hit it? Kyle Yee. Perfect. There you go, China. You're on it. I love it. Kyle Yee, congratulations. New VP working with Jacob Gardner, Caitlin Blackburn, that agency. Absolutely tearing it up. And then my man, Sean Simpson with FFL Living Hope. IUL producer, all qualified for Cancun. And learn what is Cancun, Grady? It is our corporate retreat. Not like corporate retreat where you got to like go to meetings all day long and like sit in seminars and they're going to like educate you on like tax-free municipal bonds. No, not that kind of corporate retreat. Like, hey, we did 2 cruises and now we've got our retreat, which is if you issue pay over $250,000 during the qualification period, which right now there's 2 months left, $250 qualified, you're in. All expenses paid to do we time that right? You're laughing too hard. She's all right. Can't make me laugh. To Cancun, but we're staying at the Waldorf Astoria, which is I'm like, holy cow! Like the Waldorf Astoria, like that's got some chutzpah to it. So beyond excited for everyone that's pushing, trying to qualify, that's going. Harold's going. Good to see you on here, Harold. But everyone that's pushing to be a part of something that's part of your compensation package. When you choose to spend time away from your family, invest in leads, and get beat up on the phones and learn new skills, you get paid with FFL's high comp. You get paid with the carrier cash bonuses. You get paid with the carrier trips that they have. A lot of carriers have trips. F&G announced Scotland today, I heard. You get paid from FFL producer bonuses, and you also get paid with FFL's Cancun producer retreat. So sell insurance, take care of Bob and Betty, and get yourself paid. Get taken care of. Drop paid, PAID, in the chat below if you're going to get paid more in 2025 than you've ever been paid before. And not just because you're here, but because you deserve it, because your family deserves it, and because this is a life that you are willing to give up BS for and to put yourself in a position to evolve. That's the big thing. People have to choose to evolve. We can all run a sedentary life and just hum float through life. But those that choose to evolve are the ones that get paid. So good job to all of you. Thank you for playing along. Crowd, the energy of a speaker is often fed by the energy of the crowd. So we appreciate that. And just buckle up because John's coming. Last update, Ignite. We got a date. So Ignite 2025 sales conference will be at the incredible Dream City Church. It is a 6,000 person venue. The floor sits 3,000 and the mezzanine seats another 3,000. So our goal is to get, my goal is 2,000. Right. I feel like that's a fair goal, but my goal is 2,000. We had 5,000 in Dallas. So one day in Arizona in June will be nice. You can come in on a Wednesday, run a lock-in Thursday, Friday, come to the event, run a lock-in Saturday, Sunday, fly home Monday, run your life how you want. But we got people coming from all over the country, working on some special guest speakers. You can learn a little bit more, igniteevent.com. That website is evolving, but just click register on that website and go register yourself, and we will give you updates as we know more. So without further ado, the man of the minute. Remember what I said a couple times, a party's always fun with more people. So the americaagency.com/live, you can share that. You can share the YouTube link, the Facebook link, the Instagram link, etc. Come join. John's about to spike your hair up. And let's get ready to rumble. Oh, there we go.
What's up, Grady? How are you doing, my friend? Hey, who has told you that you look like the insurance Tom Cruise? I feel like you're the insurance Tom Cruise.
I will take it. I will take it. When I was a little kid, my grandma called me Ricky Martin, and that was very sweet of her. So let me give you a proper intro, and let's get ready to rumble, brother. I'm so excited to have you on today. All right, hello everybody. Grady Paulson, the America Agency. Beyond excited to have John Pineda on today with us. He is coming out of Florida, Orlando, Florida. And John's story is unique, and that's okay, because you have to have unique people inside of opportunities for the rest of us to have something to aspire to. And what John has accomplished in his first year, is it possible? Could any of you do it? Heck yeah, you could. Could you supersede what he's done? Of course you could. You got to put your mind to it. You got to work really hard, and yeah, you've got a blueprint to follow. But in John's first year with us, last year in 2024, he personally issue paid double Hall of Fame, 900,000 issue paid in personal production. Got the recruiting bug, got the business building bug, and saw his future here as something that he could build a massive insurance agency, and set out, and at present is sitting on a $1.2 million monthly issue paid insurance agency. However, that might be January numbers, because I saw your 1 week February numbers at almost 500,000 for the week, which puts you on a nearly $2 million per month run rate, which, guys, this is a man who is making it happen. So if you're here now, good. This will be one of those calls that you look back on and go, okay, I learned, I remember that call forever. And I'm happy you're here. I'm happy I'm here. And I'm so happy that John's here. But if you can do me a favor, drop a JP in the chat below to show John some love. And without further ado, John, how are we doing today, brother?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm glad that you had me here, Grady. A lot of people may or may not know this, but I was very impacted. You know, after I spoke on stage, a lot of people came out, they DM'd me, and I've helped as much as possible. But when you asked me to come and talk to your team, it was you, and it was actually, it was Stephen Yee. It was those two that I spoke to. Sean Mikes in November. Myself, Andrew, and Daniel, my sons, we spoke to him over the phone. It was really nice. And I started to do my research. I was doing research. I was a free agent, right? I was looking at everywhere to go. And it was watching your channel and the impact that you put out, just getting all of the champions, because that's all we ever want. We want a champion's mindset. Every single interview you did over and over again. I think I watched 30 hours straight. I just was mesmerized, and I got to see everybody from Tyler to Harold to everybody. But it was that, and it was Stephen Yee. Those two things that I said, you know what? There's more to life than just finances. What there really is there's people. And that was the kind of people, that was the kind of organization that I want to be a part of. So absolutely, positively, anything I do to help your team and Family First Life in general, I'm here for it. I even wore my pin today, my Family First Life pin. There you go.
And you look fantastic. You're you know, I got a collar. I feel like, you know, very nice shirt, you know, but I'm massively underdressed right now, my own call.
It's okay.
So I love it. But John, you have a background and a story that didn't just start, you know, 18 months ago, looking at the insurance business with your sons. You have, you know, you've done very well financially. You're successful in real estate. Will you educate us a little bit on your background, what it was like, how you got there, and then at some point you go, yeah, I love my kids too, but you know, to go want to start working 80 hours a week again, just to give them an opportunity. I mean, there's something more in you than just wanting to take care of your kids. So like, to back it up, like how did you become you? Like, you know, I'd love for everyone to hear your story.
Sure. It's the number one question people ask me when they find out about me. I'm 9 years old, and it's 4 days go by and there's absolutely no food in the fridge. And it just sounds like a story today, but there's no food in the fridge, and I was hungry. And I said, you know what? I really have to eat. My mom was a single mom. She raised 5 boys by herself. My dad came to this country with my mom and then quickly left. And so it was just us. And when I sat there, I said to myself, if I want food, I wonder where I can get food from. Well, a restaurant. So I asked an older boy in the neighborhood, hey, can you get me a job there? He was like 12 or 13 years old. His name was David Souza. And he said, I don't think so, but I just showed up anyway. And it was kind of serendipitous. I'm going to tell you this right now, Grady, I believe this more now today than anything else in the world. Your intention, I'm a very spiritual. I meditate every morning, 4:30 in the morning. Your intention is everything. And so serendipity, I walked down to the restaurant, Minelli's restaurant, Chalkstone Avenue. And the bus boy, he got fired in front of my face. He got fired for doing a bad job, incompetent, doing dishes. And the owner, John Miley, looked at me and said, hey, you're here for the job? And I just went, boom, no paperwork, nothing. I just start washing dishes. And so that year, the law, I guess, was 20 hours a week, right? So I got 2 jobs washing dishes. I got 2 paper routes. At 9 years old, my dad, he did come around a little bit. He was a comptroller for Goodyear National. So he was a CPA. So he taught me a lot. But I filed my first tax return when I was 9. I made $11,000, which was insane, right? So that kind of gets you the idea. But really, you know what I'm really impressed with? At the top here, we started doing roll call. My brother Jerry is on this call. Now, my brother Jerry's not in insurance. He's just, he got on to support me, but I want to give massive kudos. We just did a Champions Club for Fidelity here in Cancun just last week, and it was his birthday too. It was fantastic. And so I really did I gave him his own award. I gave him the Atlas Shrugged Award because he really he shaped me from 9 years old. It was just the four of us. And we all took our odd jobs and we put that money together. We lived in a very suppressed area. Nobody had anything, but we put our money together. We started to buy self-help books. We started to buy How to Get Rich Quick. And so we started to watch those late infomercials like Dave Delgado and Tom Vu. And not everything worked, but what we did was that we put together $5,000. We flew my brother Jerry down to Florida. He came back with all this information. And Grady, just like the blueprint here at Family First Life, we just followed that setup. And when I was 15 years old, my oldest brother was 18. We ended up buying our first house. And we bought it for 60. We sold it for 90, $30,000. I'm 15 years old. So now we have the taste of, but what I really do is, and today it's kind of ironic that I followed this guy way before he was the president. When I was doing that paper route, I had that paper with my brother Jason. He hits me over the shoulders in the middle of a blizzard. Our hands are freezing. And he just says, look. And on the paper, it was Donald Trump. And it said, millionaire whiz kid. I'm 9. I'm 51 today. It says, millionaire whiz kid buys another building. And he said something to me. He says, there's no difference between you and him. And I just bought it. And so I realized through everything that I went through that you have to improve it. I like what Rich Dad Poor Dad says. He says you have to join a marketing company because it's going to teach you how to get better. So I bought into getting better, and that's what it was. And so when I was 15, 16 years old, around that time, we had the pleasure to find Tony Robbins, and he influenced me to be a speed reader. So I got the Evelyn Woods, Dynamic Woods speed reading course, and I went through it. And then I came across the biography of Thomas Edison. He built the light bulb, and he said, I didn't know this. He had a paper route. So it connected with me. He was the number 11 person, I believe, to get a library card in Chicago. But the paper route was on a train. The train dropped him off in Chicago. And then he came off the train. He had a library. He said he read over 10,000 books. And that's why he built the light bulb. So Grady, I said to myself, success can't be that hard. If I could read 1,000 books, I'll bet you I'll be a millionaire. And so I got to book number 660. And I was a millionaire. That was it.
Wow.
Yeah. And wow. I share with you, Mastermind, we bought into that. Everybody in the neighborhood thought we were crazy. You're wasting your time. You're a dreamer. Get rich quick doesn't work. And it all doesn't work. But I've learned something over the years. Get rich quick does work once you capture the skill required for you to get rich quick. So I made my first million. By the time I was 21, I had so much. And today, I mean, just to fast forward to today, because there's so much along the way. But today, I don't have everything in the world. I'm sitting on about 37 million, living in a 10,000 square foot house, just like I told everybody there on stage. And I'm blessed. And what happened was for the last 12 years of my life, I was in golden handcuffs. I was more like I worked about 10 days a month, and I'm W-2ing about $100,000 a month. And it was my two sons. They come out of college and they say, there's not a lot of opportunity. We want to do what you did. And one, because I believe in opportunity. I believe in the serendipity of opportunity. I don't believe in renting. I opened a nonprofit and I help 50 families every month get into a house with no money down. My career started when I was about 17, 18 in the mortgage business. And that was all telesales, by the way. Everything I did was telesales. So this was just a shoe-in. And that's my biggest focus. And so when they said they wanted to get in business, I said, okay, we're going to go buy a building. And that's what we did. We bought this building here, 1500 Park Center Drive. And it looks like Professor X's mansion. It's about 22,000 square feet. And I did that after I hung up the phone with Shawn Mikes. I was that was the final thing on top of watching you and all these other great producers said, you know what, this is where it's going to be. I bought this building and I did it. And I'll tell you what's really cool is that the building, the debt ratio is so unbelievable. It takes care of itself. But I did that as a testament because I believe in this. You can all get rich, but you're going to end up someplace. What I love most about what we do here, Index Universal Life Insurance, is all I specialize in. And I know that you can sell everything, but here's my idea. Great. And I'll say it the way my son Andrew says it the best, and he's my general. He says, Dad, we could spend the time and we can learn 10,000 different kicks. We were big in martial arts when I was a kid. He goes, but instead, I think what we should do is take one kick and kick it 10,000 times, Dad, to become masters. And that's all we do. Like I have blindfolders on. That's all I do. And the thing I love about Index Universal Life Insurance is this. It's your end goal. You become an athlete. You become a superstar. You make multi-millions of dollars. How many people lose all their money because they don't know how to manage their money and they don't know a thing about investing? On top of that, how many people leave this world with their loved ones with nothing, and it just became the perfect product? I love it. These guys, the great book, Chop Wood, Carry Water, these guys have so much passion. They pulled me back in. And so, yeah, we're 80 hours a week because You know, death doesn't sleep, and we've got a mission, man. It's a crusade, and I'm buying into it 100%.
Death doesn't sleep. That's good.
Death does not sleep, my friend.
So, I mean, I would be repressed with not asking a few more questions about this $37 million, number you just dropped on it. So 15 to 18. So did you just get into commercial? Did you get into home? Were you flipping homes?
I was a super
as well. Yeah. But like, what did you do for the 33 years there?
I own a lot of real estate. I invest really well. I was a day trainer for a small period of time. I'm going to share this with you. My story is, when I was a kid, I used to tell people you can do it. One of my first companies, I opened a mortgage company. I was 30. I made $20 million. That was mine in 3 years, the first 3 years. I was the 5th largest correspondent lender in the state of Florida. And I'll tell you what, it wasn't the money. For me, I was always coming from that network marketing background. You want to talk about, Stephen Yee sent me a nice DM today about he missed Jim Rohn. I did too. I used to sell when I was 16 years old. We joined a network marketing company called the People's Network. Now, no one knows what this is, right? But imagine this. Imagine we have YouTube today, but there was no YouTube of the day. They were trying to be YouTube, bringing Tony Robbins, Zig Ziglar, bringing Brian Tracy into your home via satellite. So I'm selling that product, but I'm really getting into the self-help. And so I realized back then, I used to tell people all the time, you can do it. And I'll be very candid with you. You can't do it. Nobody actually wants to do the work involved. What I do is I try to get everyone transparently to understand that the one thing we have to kill is you. Because if I meet you wherever you are and you're meeting me because you want more, I became a life coach at livepassevent.com. I charge people $4,000 here at the Flamingo Crossing. They'll come for 2 days, 16 hours, but it's really an upsell program. I charge you $10,000 a month for 6 months, but I guarantee you to be a millionaire. So here in Orlando, there's people walking around. Travis Wilson, a good friend of mine, making millions of dollars, people that I've trained and coached. But what it is, I'm very specific. I can't talk to you unless you make over $250,000 a year, because you have to have a base mindset. Because if I take a person that let's just say is a burger flipper, right? The likelihood that that person's going to be a millionaire next year, very low. There's that small percentage. So not everyone can do it unless, this is the unless they're willing to trade off literally everything else to focus on that. And I shared a good meeting with these guys, and I talked about, and I know you asked a question about what I invest in, how I got there, but the biggest thing is I invest most into my mind. So Stephen Covey is the best. Stephen Covey talks about the different quadrants. And if you don't know 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, old book, blow dust off it. He talks about quadrant 2. And gang, quadrant 2 is where I live. Quadrant 2, everything in quadrant 2 is important, but not urgent, right? So what's quadrant 1? Something that's urgent. You're driving to work, your tire goes flat. You got to deal with that. That's in your face. That's quadrant 1. It's an emergency. It's in your face. You got to do it. Then there's things that are important, stuff you got to do for the day. Sell, income producing activities. That's a different quadrant, quadrant 3. But on quadrant 2 is where the things are important, but they're not urgent. And that's the stuff people don't do. So Grady, what I really have done is I live in that quadrant. I'm always living in the place of planning, in the place of future. I'm always living in that quadrant. And that's why I've gotten success. I like patterns. I like the book, Great Expectation. There's patterns and then cycles that go over and over again. So while everybody's heading towards the door, I love market crashes. I love market recessions. That's what I'm buying. I love it. And that's the number one thing I've done to become wealthy, because what we sell in the IUL, the rule of 72, every 7 years, your money will double. That's going to happen in real estate the most. So to truly get wealthy for everybody here, you have to own real estate. Let me tell you something that I champion. What I champion, how I make millionaires here today at Family First Life. And I think that we'll have our first set of real millionaires, the first set of guys that came to Champions Club with me, those 6 gentlemen, 9 really. I think that between this year and next year, they'll become bona fide millionaires, and they weren't beforehand, because here's why. You've got to make $30,000 a month in net. You got to follow the rules. You've got to have your expenses. I go extreme. Your expenses should be 10%. That's your expenses. I'm talking about personal expenses. I'm talking about after you're done making your IP, after chargebacks, you're netting at least $30,000 from your business. Now, as a salesperson in insurance, I have 30. I pay my bills at $3,000. I have $27,000 left. You've got to save that for 2 years straight so that you can buy 4 greenhouses. Monopoly was real. 4 greenhouses, and then you upgrade to a red hotel. And here's how 4 greenhouses work. And you know, it's funny, right? Well, I'm in lending. Well, check this out. Well, Grady, I don't know how much real estate you have, but if I start buying houses for you, I'm your mortgage broker. When we get to the 4th house, it's a funny thing. When we go to the 1003 application, the residential application, it says how many properties you own. Did you know the second I put down 5 houses for you? Now, lending's changed, guidelines have changed, but the second I put the 5th house down for you, everything changes, Grady. You become an investor now. You get investor rates. You got to put 20, 30, 40% down. They treat you different. So Monopoly, Hasbro Brothers was so right. 4 greenhouses. You get to live in one, you get to get 3, and you're still, it's cool. You're under the radar. Nobody knows who you are. Then you have 4 greenhouses. You wait, you let it bake 7 to 10 years. Everything doubles. You take the equity from those properties and you purchase. I'll give you this example. This building I'm sitting in, $6 million. I needed $854,000 to buy the building. All I did was now look at the recipe. And I did this as a testament to show these guys out here, my office here, all my guys are out there right now. As a testament, I showed them step by step how it worked. And normally you would have to liquidate 4 houses in order to get that red hotel, but we entered COVID. So the houses that I bought before COVID for 300 and 400, they're doubled. They're 6, 8. I only need to liquidate 2 properties. I get $854,000. Those properties still cash flow. I take that $854,000 and I buy that commercial building. Now, I want to say something to you. A lot of systems out there sell real estate cash flow building. I'm not selling that because let me tell you the flaw. I tried doing just that. Real estate, other than taxes, the benefits you get from taxes, the cash flow from real estate, it's actually very nominal. You have to have a tremendous portfolio in order to live off of real estate. So what I've learned, and I don't know everything, I don't teach you what I've done. What I've done is make sure that I got myself in the highest income earning position I could be in, and then take that wealth and never stop that. One of my wealth advisors, Kobe Winslow with Creative Planning. He's my fiduciary. And I met him through reading Tony Robbins' book, Money. And I fired a bunch over the years. Great guy here in Orlando. All of the athletes and superstars and Windermere, the guy's it, right? He's got more letters behind his name than anything else. But I believe in paying for professionals. And one of the things he shared with me over the years, as I'm sitting there and I'm making these good amounts of money. And I'm like, but I'm not like your other clients. He would always tell me back then, he would say, cash isn't king, John. Cash flow is king. So you can never stop the cash flow. We could never stop the drip. We could never stop doing active work. And I'll tell you this, for everybody listening who's actually in this to try to make money and stop, that's your first lie. There's no such thing as stop. If every single one of us, Grady, said to our heart, you know what? I'm just going to work really hard. I'm going to get this. I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to get the girl. I'm going to buy the building. I'm going to become a NASA rocket scientist. And then we could stop. Then we just take a break. Ask your heart to take a break. That's your last day. So that's the first fallacy. And people don't realize that retirement was a lie that was made by a guy back in the day because you were digging his tunnel. You were mining for coal. And they said you were exhausted. You were tired. You did it for 30 years. He says, hey, Grady, you do this 10 more years for me, man, I'll get you set up for life. You die of lung cancer before it happens. Here's my point. That's the first lie. We could never stop. The day you decide that, it's literally telling your heart to stop. But and I've done it. So I made it and I semi-retired, and there's only so much vacation you can do. There's only so much. And then the people you love that maybe not doing as well as you, there's only so much you can do. So what I ended up doing was this opportunity for me, going to truly the one book everyone should have is The Gospel of Wealth by Andrew Carnegie. And he literally, he impacted me so much because this all happened at the same time, right? We had, for me, Shaquille O'Neal did the Def Jam comedy special. And he said that his comedian, if you're 40 years old, you've only got 20 good summers left. What are you going to do with it? And he said, damn, that's a check. What am I going to do? He opened a nonprofit. Mark Wahlberg opened a nonprofit. And I looked at my life. I said, what's my greatest value? I can't stand to see people rent. It's the biggest waste of money. Spend $1,000, $2,000 a month, $3,000 a month on rent. It's the biggest waste. So I said, I had the skill set. And over my whole life, I was such a successful mortgage broker. Over my whole life, it was always a family member or a friend. Grady, I believe this. When you're a matriarch, you're the matriarch of your family. So you have a bunch of people asking you for money. They don't need money. They need education. So every time I would get a family member, friend in need, they'd say, hey, I need money. Why? Well, I'm getting foreclosed. I'm getting evicted. Why? Well, if I give them money, No, I'm just going to be a bank and I'm never going to get paid back. It's going to affect our relationship. So I give them education. So what I started to do, every time somebody asked me for money because they were hurting financially, it was usually because they were renting, and I taught them how to buy a house with no money down. They pay for an appraisal. So that was my nonprofit. And that's what I did. I started that nonprofit. It's PinedaAcademy.com. And we help 50 families every month get into a house, no money down, because that was the highlight of my career. And it's interesting because during my career doing mortgages, I overlooked it. It was a hassle for me to help somebody get a house, no money down, because there's no money in it. And I'm sitting here trying to just make business. And at the end of my life, I look at the quiet moments. It's what's mattered the most. So that's what I've done. But to answer the question, I've always made a lot. I've focused so well on being such a closer that selling for me is just like a faucet. It just, the money just pours out. And then this was the next step. I had to be a good steward of cash. So all those lessons my dad's trying to teach me at 9 and 11 and 16 about literally financials, cash flow, retained earnings, balance sheets, none of that stuff was making sense at the time. And now I realize that's the most important gate. So for everybody here that's new, even if you've been here for a while, I talked to a lot of people at the convention, successful people. And it's interesting to me how few people own. If you're here and you've been here for a while and the insurance business has been good to you, guys, get to own. You got to buy. You got to buy real estate, period. Because no matter what happens to the economy, we go to Bitcoin or Apples or fiat money. Think about it. They're going to pay you. That's why you're called the Lord of the land. You're the landlord. They got to pay you. So if it's Bitcoin, Apples, or fiat, I'm going to take it. Right. So, and that's the reality, but that's it. So once you get to the habit of buying 4 houses and then flipping it to a commercial real estate building, it's forget about it, Grady. It's game over. And the truth is the rich get richer. Think about this. For everybody who hears my voice right now that's renting your apartment or house, every single one of you just experienced a yearly increase. So think about it. Average person spends $2,000 on rent. Then it goes up 10% a year, at least 3 to 10%. So let's say you're paying $2,200 the next year or $2,400 the next year. Think about this. If they just bought a house, tax and insurance all in, that house would have been maybe $1,800 a month, same person. And that rent payment is going to stay that payment for the next 30 years. So you see, these crashes only affect the poor. And these crashes make the rich richer. So to answer your question, make a tremendous amount of money and keep buying real estate responsibly, prudently. Make sure the numbers work. Make sure you understand the real estate. And that's truly how you make the game. But step one is you have to have a skill set to make a tremendous amount of money. And that's what I've done.
John, fantastic. Please drop a 4 for 4 houses in the chat below, because now we all have a blueprint and goals.
Yeah, 4 greenhouses.
4 houses. But John, thank you. Yeah. I know this is information that's taken you decades to figure out, and you delivered it in 15 minutes on how everyone on here can become financially free 100%. If they build their skill set, sell their faces off, take that money, be financially prudent with it, invest in real estate, and continue to go. Do you have to sell insurance forever? No, if you do, you did this wrong. You should build a business, buy real estate, create assets, create a skill set, serve other people. John, thank you so much for sharing that.
You're welcome.
I could talk to you for hours based on what you just said, but to respect the call, let's pivot into insurance sales, which is something you're incredibly skilled at. 900,000 personal, issue paid, and coaching. Before we get there, what are your sons' names?
Andrew and Daniel. Andrew Pineda and Daniel Pineda.
Daniel, what's up, brother?
And I'll tell you, I'll give you one more. I've got 4 kids. Andrew and Daniel work at the company. And if I could, I'll just give a free plug to these guys. Daniel's a great rapper. He's like his mom's, but their mom is a blonde German gal, and we're not together anymore. But I mean, Daniel's so good looking. He could have been the next Eminem, but he dropped like 400 songs on SoundCloud. But my son Andrew's been with me for now 5.5 years. So I was already coaching him in business. Every single person, even everyone here that's on this call, if you learn anything from me today, you got Daniel to thank. Well, you got Andrew and Daniel. I'll tell you why. 2 years ago, Daniel came up to me after a New Year's party, and they're back by the pool. And he comes in, he goes, I want to do what you and Drew are doing. I want to start making real money. Because he was in college, going to sound engineering at Bonefish. And he was creative. He took the creative route. Great athlete, creative route. And so I said, let's go. And when I looked around, here's what I did. I said, okay, I know I've made it. Let me be 24. So I literally started Googling what's the best place for a 24-year-old kid to make money. And it came out financial services. Then I kept deep diving. What financial service, because I'm already a licensed mortgage broker, licensed real estate. I was licensed in insurance in 2009, so it's all the financial services. I said, which one do I have the best opportunity to become a millionaire? And it says insurance. Google said that. I go, there it is. And that's when when I found out that Jay-Z and Kevin Durant, just like I said, they invested $500 million. I said, okay, now this is sexy. I can say that because everything's a third-party story. I can say that to a customer. I could just break their state. Guys asking whatever kooky question. I'm like, hey, you know who Jigga is? You know who Hoba is? You know Jigga Man? You don't know Jay-Z and Beyonce? You don't know? See, I just stopped. That's a non sequitur. It's out of sequence. That's how you sell. And I'm like, all right, well, check this out. Can you imagine that those guys dropped $500 million into these technologies? So I could be on the phone with you right now. Hey, get your phone. Get your phone. That was me. That's a Zoom. Go click on, hey, what's up? Yeah, that's me, right? So I'm like that. But that makes it sexy. And for me, selling is simple. If I get one idea, it's ignite. I'm done. I can take that to the moon. So once I realized those guys dropped $500 million, I knew this was going to be sexy. I could sell that because people buy passion. And imagine when we get into the sales portion, we're talking about, your back screen says Samsung if you want to change it. So check this out. The real reality is this. Every person on this call will leave here with one thing, an emotion. That's it. So when you're on the phone with the customer, Zooming or in person, generally you're going to leave with an emotion. So that is what we have to tie into. If you have a high chargeback rate, I'm going to show you somebody who's a robot that doesn't care, right? If you can't sell, it's because you're not leaving an indelible mark on your customer. And that's the number one skill set, because the better you are, you say that I'm a great salesperson. Grady, I'm just going to take that back. I'm the world's greatest closer. Okay. I'll outclose Tony Robbins. I look at Grant Cardone all the time, and I met Grant Cardone. I say that, and listen, what's true is true for you and nothing else. But imagine this. In my career, the last career I just had for 10 years, I immediately came up with a very high close rate. But check this out. Somebody challenged me. This business had about a 10% close rate. So if you met 100 people today, 10 would buy. So if you sell 20, you could sell 30. It's impossible. You could sell 40. You're a legend. I walked in selling 50 to 60. And I'm saying that as a fact. I'm not saying that to impress anyone here, just to impress upon you. I was already selling half the people that I met. Then I met my wife there, my current wife, my dream girl, Melissa. She's my soulmate. She's the number one closer at another company. And so we met, fell in love. We have an Alexander. He's 7. He can outclose both of us. No wonder. We always said that she's the world's greatest girl closer. I'm the greatest guy closer. But when I met her, we shared secrets. Now I'm 70, 80%. Then my mom passed away. And I believe she's an angel. And she was the greatest salesperson I ever met. How did we make it when I was 9? She joined every network marketing company you could imagine. She used to bake cakes. She babysit kids, whatever it took. We owned a home. And that's why I believe in home ownership so much. About 5 times, Grady, we almost lost that house. The church came and helped us. But through all of her struggle, through all of her strife, she kept us in the house. Me staying stable for the first 15 years compared to my cousins and everyone else in the neighborhood that had to move and keep moving because they didn't have the money financially. I believe that that's why I'm stable today. And that's why I help people with home ownership. But at the end of the day, she got recruited into A.L. Williams, Primerica. A.L. Williams back in the day. So that was it. Buying into that was the thing. But here's the thing. If we focus on getting really, really good at impacting people, we're going to be successful. To finish that story, the last year before I retired, from February 2021 to February 2022, somebody challenged me. Can you close 100%? You ever understand something? The client that I had was walking in to sue the company, half of them. Upset with the product. Imagine buying a Tesla, hating it, and you're there to sue Elon Musk. You just can't stand it. Then you meet me. Out of 100 people that I met 266 people over a 12-month period. I sold 100%. And the average ticket price was $85,000. Hilton Grand Vacation didn't believe it. They filmed me. They said, what's this guy doing? They filmed me 10 times in a row, just like this, just these camera crews right here. They filmed, the customer signed a waiver. I sold all 10 on camera. My sales process is 5 hours. If you follow a proven process, you will succeed. And that's it. So when I say, can everyone do it? If they're committed like I am, like for example, here, when I first meet you, I have to do a meet and greet. That's part of my job. I'm not leaving that meet and greet, Grady, until I'm done. And I'm convinced that we're going to walk into my office, which is my buy box. I've sat there. People have screamed at me for an hour. I don't leave the hallway until I'm convinced that they've met me. They know who I am. They know my purpose. And I know who they are and what their purpose is. That's a proper meet and greet, right? And so there are fundamental things like this. And I know we're going to get into the sales portion, but before we get, I want to drop you guys. I think the most impactful thing is 343. I want to drop for you guys the most impactful thing, the discovery. If somebody says of the 10 steps of a sales process, what's the most important thing? It's the discovery. And the discovery is going deep into the dominant buying motives. But I wanted to go something special. I have no idea, by looking at your chat group or these comments, how many people are here. But I almost asked you, do we have the power to kick people off the chat? I almost asked you that because that's what I want to do. Check me out.
Okay.
Imagine this. Watch. Imagine if somebody comes here and they're just going crazy, right? They're just not the right guy for the crowd. Kick them off. And I'll tell you why. And I don't know. I'm not saying. I'm just saying. If you paid me $3,995 and came to Flamingo Crossing for me to coach your life, right? And I can't get you everything. I only get you what I have, right? The first thing I would do is qualify you. So I have 7 questions here that if you can answer each and every one of these questions on your own, then you're qualified for me to teach you. Because here's the thing. Why are you here? Everybody. Well, I understand. Let me tell you what I understand about this. The American agency, Grady Polson, great guy. You have this meeting. You have this meeting. You give updates. It's fantastic. That's one of the things we have to do to maintain that structure. Okay. Why are you still here? Everybody here. Like if I look at Elise, Bryce, Sheila, Jose, Quentin, McKenna, Sean, right? Why are you guys here? What's your purpose? Are you here because you have to be here or because you want to be here? I'm going to transition for us. Great. I'm going to take this next 15 minutes. I'm going to give you guys huge impact. If you want to believe this, I'm going to give you the skill set that you can take to make sales tonight. And then if you hone this in, you're going to get even more than that. And Grady, I'm doing this for you because of how much you impacted me. I charge people for this. I'm a very guarded man. When I've spent, my brothers and I calculate, I spent over $800,000. I'm getting an edge seminar. I've paid all the money. A date with Destiny. I've done it all. And then people meet you and like, hey, can I ask you a question? Do you know how hard I worked to make the money to know what I know today? And it's easy. My life is so easy. I don't want to brag, but it's easy. What's hard is getting to the next level. I'm now, Alex Hormozi is my biggest guy right now. I want to get to $100 million. And guess what? That's my next level. So my life's hard again. But the 37 million I have is easy. The 30 million I have is easy. And by the way, I've gone up and down in wealth too. So, but watch this. Ready? I'm going to try to give you the best impact possible. And I say try because it's up to you. Why are you here? Are you here because Grady said so? Are you here because you heard a rumor about who John Pineda is? Are you here to learn? Or are you here? Check this out. Are you here so you could show up and tell the person you love the most, your husband, your wife, that I tried. This just doesn't work for me. Why are you here? Or are you here because this is your last dollar? It's your last week of lead spend? Or are you here because you're brand new? You took out a loan and you got $30,000 to start this business. Why are you here? This is the first question. So I'm going to do this and there's really no way that I can check. So we're going to do a big honor system. Great. If you allow me to, okay? I'm going to do a big honor system. So ready? I got a question for you guys. Do me a favor. When you write down the answer, get a pen, get a tablet, get something. 7. And I want the answer to every question. Answer honestly, because here's the thing. You probably never meet me. We're never going to see each other again. And if that happens, then guess what? You have this. And this is for you. And this is your honesty. And this is what you're going to do with this. Because the reason why you're here at this level is because you haven't broken off the bark on the tree to grow to the next level. My son's 7. That's how I teach him. Look at that tree. You see the scars? And those scars hurt. So some of you guys are going to get hurt. You'll get hurt because I'll ask the first question. I'm telling you right now, Grady, if I had full power here, I would ask the first question. If you don't answer the question correctly, I kick you off this Zoom. We're done. And I'm sorry. I'm not saying you're not going to make it, but you're not going to make it here. And that's the point. Not everyone's going to make it. So I'll give it to you. Ready, guys? Let's get to it. Here's the first one. Here's the first question. I'm going to ask you all to write this down. This is for your own personal success, guys. Here's the first one. First question. If your income stopped right now, what's the first thing that would suffer? All right. So would it be your house? Would it be your bills? Or do you have it so well it would just be savings? So write that down and just be honest with it. We'll get through these questions. Number one. If your income stopped right now, what I'd love to do, which we can't do in this capacity, is get a volunteer to give this. Because if you see, I would like you to watch me coach someone one-on-one. And this is the coaching, guys. Right now, you're getting $4,000 worth of coaching from me right now, because this is how I start. If your income stopped right now, what's the first thing that would slip away? I need you to write that down. I'm going to give you a couple minutes, seconds. We're good. Okay, we're going to do the second one. Ready? Number 2. If I told you there was a way to make sure that your family is set for life without having them struggle, would you like to know that from me? Let me repeat that second question. If I told you I had a guaranteed way to make sure you and your family never have to struggle, how willing would you be to listen to what I have to tell you? Because I promise you, at the end of this rainbow, I promise you, I only deliver success and I don't waste time. That's number 2. So that's the second question. Would you be willing to listen? Here's the third question. Number 3. Leave some space between all the questions. So I'm going to add something to each one. Ready? Here's number 3. Do this not for me. Do this for the people you love, because it's life-changing if you allow it to. Because remember, change only happens if you allow that change into us. So let's go number 3. Who in your life depends on you the most? And this is where, I mean, Grady, you're the only one that can speak to me. I guess these guys can't talk. I would ask you to tell me about them, right? So who in your life right now depends on you? If you will, just take a few seconds. You, Grady, who in your life depends on you the most? And just tell me about them. Just a quick, maybe a couple minutes. Now, listen, if I was really doing this to be a one-on-one, and I would let you dig into this, but just who generally depends on you the most? Just tell me about that person. Yeah, Grady Paulson.
My family, my wife, my 4 children.
Okay, who the most? Your wife or kids? Who the most depends on you?
But I mean, my wife. Yeah.
Okay, your wife. Okay. I mean, how old are your kids? How many kids do you have? How old are they?
4, 7, 9, and 12.
Okay. And then of the kids, who needs you the most, Grady?
Probably Cameron. He's the most challenging, so he needs me the most.
Okay. And if you could share, it's your show, but this would be different if I was one-on-one with you, but just tell me a few things about Cameron. Why does he need you the most?
Oh, well, he struggles with listening. He gets in trouble at school. He is very emotional, and needs guidance and care and more attention than the others at this point.
Thank you. And again, this is my first time on your show. I don't know how deep you go, but thank you for that. Thank you so much.
We get after it, man. This is all
right. Yeah, so let's go to the next question. Here's the next question for all of you, Anwar, Daryl, Jennifer, Steve, for all of you. Ready? What does it mean to be a provider? What does that mean to you? Like when you're thinking about taking care of people, what's your biggest motivator? Write that down. So what does it mean to be a provider? And if you're thinking about taking care of people, what's your biggest motivator? And be honest with yourself. So I'm telling you, what if I told you at the end of this rainbow is $1 million? And it's true. And I couldn't be any less from the truth, right? Next question. Have you ever seen somebody who is completely, let me say it like this. In your mind, if I ask you, who have you watched as a family member or a friend where their life completely fell apart because they lost the person they love? Now, loss is loss, guys. What was that like? Do you know somebody whose life completely changed? They had to move, their life completely changed because their life fell apart because the person they loved, they lost. Write that down. If you know that person, write that down. And if you don't, then go stretch outward, right? A few more questions, guys. Ready? If I could take all your financial stress today off your plate, McKenna, Quentin, if I could take all of your financial stress off your plate, what would you do for that? That's it. Those are my questions for you guys. All right. So I'm going to go. What's really strange right now, my guys out there, they have the Zoom on and I can hear they pump the volume up, Grady. So the speaker's coming through my door. I hope that doesn't bother us here. So guys, here it is. Ready? I asked you to leave some room and I want to share something really deep with you, Grady. Your success comes down to the level that you can duplicate, at least for me. If somebody would say to me, okay, I'm going to take this bag and I just want to lift it and I want to pick it up. I'm going to put it down. If you're in my office, I would say to you, do the same thing. I would need you to do it exactly like I did it. The more exact you are at doing that, the more successful you're going to be because it's duplication. So I've asked earlier for you to leave a small space, all of you, and I hope you did, whatever you're writing on. I hope you left a small space there because here's why. We're going to fill something in with each question. And I'm assuming, and I hope for all of you, that your success and your family rely on you so much that this is important enough to do. On the very first question, I want you to write above your answer, fear. Fear, F-E-A-R, fear. I'm scared, fear. On the very second question, I want you to write greed, greed. On your very third question, the answer, I want you to write duty. On the fourth question, I want you to write pride. On the fifth question I asked you and you answered, I want you to write above it the word envy. And finally, on the last two, the sixth question, the answer you wrote down, I want you to write comfort above that. And finally, above the last question, I want you to write security. And that security, that question, that final question I asked you is this: if I could take all of your financial stress off your plate today, what would you do for that? Because here's the thing, I can, but it all depends on what you tell me next. Can I ask you guys? And I'll just ask you, Grady, you're the only one in the room. Can I get a hooyah?
Hooyah?
Yeah.
A hooyah?
Yeah, hooyah. I love hooyah.
Yeah.
Man.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Would you, if I promise you inside this box, I have the ability to take all the financial stress off your plate, what would you do for that? Okay. Are you with me?
Yeah.
That's how you sell 100%. I just did it to all of you. What you need to do is take this list down. Those are the 7 dominant buying motives, and you need to cover them with your customer. Because when you do, if I did this real time and I did it a little bit under duty with Grady, guys, when you go back, watch the tape. Watch what happens to Grady's face when he tells me about Cameron. Watch, and I didn't allow him to go deep. I didn't allow him to go deep because I didn't know how. This is my first time here, guys. I didn't know how open you guys are. Here's my point. I promise you, when I go one-on-one with the customer, I dig 7 levels deep. You just experienced my close. And that last thing that you all felt, I asked a sincere question. I said, Grady, if I could take all the financial stress off your plate, what would you do for that? And you know what they do? They buy.
It's fantastic. Fear, greed, duty, pride, envy, comfort, security. These are the
7 dominant buying motives. They're the only 7 things that I don't care what rate. There's 8.25 billion people on the planet. I don't care what race, religion, creed. I don't care what you are. You'll do it in your language. But these are the 7 things. Now, you don't need to use all 7, but I promise you, for me to maintain a 100% close rate, I'll use all 7. Most for me, I've become such a master at this, and you can too, that you only need 3 of those. But if you really want to get good at your job and beyond anything else, this insurance product. Now, this is my shield. Grady, I just gave your whole team a $4,000 John Pineda lesson that I charge people for. Now, now we go deeper. Now, obviously, I have you for 16 hours. You go deeper into each and every one, and I have variations of each and every one. And for IUL, the first thing you have to ask a person when they're looking for an IUL is, are you looking for the product? Are you looking for the protection? Or are you looking more for the investment, right? But those 7, truly, I've never met a business in the world, Grady, where all 7 dominant buying motives make all the sense in the world. Like when I sold cars, it wasn't sometimes, seriously, envy works when you sell cars, right? So it's like, but Highline cars, but a lot of times like duty doesn't come. If you guys come in to buy a Ferrari, duty doesn't really come into play, right? So, but this business of insurance, Grady, is perfect. And that to me, I believe in coincidences. I believe in marks. I believe in signs. And this business, the fact that all 7 dominant buying motives work for this business, absolutely untouchable. If you will, everybody, when you go back to the tape, more than just going back through when you rewatch this, remember how you felt, because that's how it's going to happen to the customer. Now, the next thing that you're going to run into, if all of you run out there tonight and use this on the phone, and this is your goal, is to get them to open up to you. Because remember this, and remember this always, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care, period. So even today, some of the people started to DM me before the show, and I started to respond back. It's not about me, it's about you. And it's 100% about you, right? People don't know they don't really care how much you know. Yeah, you know everything until they know how much you care. And one of the most impactful things, guys, you guys don't know this. And it was myself, it was my son, Andrew, and it was Diego Rivera, my top producer here. We met Grady Polson in a Boca dinner for top producers just a few months before the annual convention. And Grady, I'm not in his line. You guys know how this works, right? He's not my upline. Grady, the amount of time, attention, graciousness, you gave me your phone number. I got stuck where I asked my upline, I had no help. I texted you. You didn't text me back. You called me back. And then you apologized because you called me a little bit later than you wanted to. Yo, I was shocked, right? Because it's literally, it's what Tim Grover said. inside of your phone. Everybody wants more balance. I want to be more successful. Okay, then you're going to add things to your plate. I want to be more healthy. Then I'm going to add the gym to my plate. You keep adding to your plate, but what did you delete? Now you're out of balance, right? And so for you to make that call was just huge. And for you to add other people first was just incredible, because you didn't know who I was. You didn't know that I had any abilities to speak or make impact. You just reached out to me because you cared, and I could tell in your voice you just cared. And I asked you, remember what I said the day I met you, I shook your hand. You started to give me like little tidbits about what you use, the technology, and I just stopped. And I was like, man, you need to stop. So I said, because I'm used to paying for stuff. I go, what do I pay you? You're not getting paid. What do I pay you to give me this? And you just looked at me with this big smile, and you're like, you know what? At convention, maybe we grab a beer, man. Don't worry about it. And dude, I'm telling you right now, you're the first person that I've helped after commit like this on this level. And I went back and forth because I'm a firm believer. My brother Julius, when we were kids, we spent so much money to learn. And the kids in the neighborhood would ask, and he'd be like, and I told him once, right? Because I would tell him, he's like, John, don't tell him. Don't tell him. We worked so much. We paid so hard. It's our secrets. It's family secrets, right? So I kind of got conditioned like that. But, you, Grady, impressive. Stephen Yee, impressive. Harold, impressive, guys. You guys are so impressive that I felt this overwhelming need. And it's one of those things, like I knew you guys before you knew me. That's the reason why I gave back. And that is a testament, Family First Life. That actually makes me feel so good that I decided to be here above and beyond everything else. So absolutely great.
Well, John, I appreciate you. I think the words you just shared right there at the end are on top of everything. It's, I try to give and share and hand out all the secrets I have, because for so long I kept everything that I knew so close to the vest, because I didn't want anyone to come in on my market of my 8.25 billion people. And then you start to have this just fear mindset. When you have that closed mind mindset, you're not even in your own business opening yourself up to other opportunities. And when you just go give it away, and I learned from a guy early on, he goes, I'll digest as much material as I possibly can, and then I'll create a training course around it, and I'll completely train myself out of everything I've learned so that I've got it all out, and then I can be filled back up again. And I feel very similar philosophies with you. Is when the more you pour out, the more that you can fill your cup back up. And so I appreciate you so much. I've gotten so much from this call. I hope the audience has as well. I mean, I know they have.
Can I give you a bonus lesson, Grady? Can I give you a bonus lesson?
Give us all the lessons.
I'll give you a bonus lesson. I'm going to just put this out there. My biggest belief in the world, I have a website. It's called PinedaAcademy.com. It's my last name. I went to Mexico, and there's a store when you leave Mexico. It's Pineda Covalina. And so really good. I support her. Every time I go there, I get my wife a little purse. She's like the Gucci out in Mexico. So the purse was like, it was like 5,000 pesos. Okay. Pesos.
Oh, pesos. All right. So yeah.
It's a couple $100, right? Yeah. So but my point is, I always do that. And, but I want to share that with you because I never finished telling you all. There is, if you DM me, _ John Pineda, I will send you a digital free copy of the book that changed my life. And it is The Gospel of Wealth. And The Gospel of Wealth is by Andrew Carnegie. And you don't have to DM me, Grady. I will give it to you. I'm gonna send it to you right now. If you have it, then that's okay. But it's a digital version. It's the original version, and I love it. And let me just share this with you quickly as a bonus lesson, guys. The Gospel of Wealth, Andrew Carnegie. If you don't know, the first seed of every single self-help book was Think and Grow Rich. It's the very first one, written in 1912. And so Napoleon Hill followed the wealthiest man in the world. So consider him like, imagine if you could follow Elon Musk today. Everything he eats, what he thinks, what he drinks, the off-candid moments, like when he was on the airplane eating a bunch of McDonald's French fries. And I was like, no, what are you doing? I'm like, why French fries? Right? I don't even know why my president loves hamburgers. I'm like, oh, stop. Or even Warren Buffett, he loves cherry Coke. I'm like, no, don't. Right? But the point is this, is that The Gospel of Wealth, Andrew Carnegie, richest guy in the day, Napoleon Hill documented him. But what a lot of people don't know is that Andrew wrote his own book, and it's more of a pamphlet. It's a quick read, but it goes like this. You've got 3 phases of your life, and all of you are someplace here. The first phase, you're learning. And listen, if you live to be 99 years old, you got from age 0 to 33 to learn, period. This is how I break it down. Then when you're 33, you've got your second phase of life where you're earning. So now you got from age 33 to 66. In the book, Think and Grow Rich, they say at age 40 is when you really start to, the energy that you came to this planet with, that energy, that thrust to survive goes to your brain. And so now you start to function more at a higher level with your brain. So from age 33 to 66, the second phase of your life is to earn. Now, when you get to 66, before you die at 99, your job is to give back, shape the world the way you want it to. Okay. If you got any impact from me, I'll tell you this. And if look, and so I was a really good student. If somebody thinks I'm a master at anything today, it's because I was a good student. Even today, I'm learning today. You know, today I was at the gym, and one of the guys that work here, he was a state champion. And I'm sitting there before your call, trying to DM me. I'm just hitting everybody, right? I got to the gym late today, off schedule completely. And so I walked up to this kid. He's 18, great. And I said, listen, you're state champion, Flores. Look me in the eyes. He looked at me. I said, what do you think about? How do you lock in with all this distraction here? Your phone, Instagram, everyone talks to you. And he looks at me really plain and blank. And he goes, oh, yeah, I just started thinking about the car ride home and how mad I'm going to be about not having a good set. I said, you're thinking about the car ride right now? He said, yeah. And immediately I thought about my car ride the other day when I didn't have a good workout because I was distracted. And so I followed the recipe. See, I duplicated, and I had 15 minutes left. And I put myself in state. I was him. I'm thinking about the car ride. Oh my God, I'm going to be upset. I hit the best 15 minutes of my life just now. The best 15 minutes. I would just ran against everybody. Anybody could have been. Chris Bumstead could have been in the room. Arnold could have been in the room. It was the best because see, that's how success. And that's what I'm saying is I'm a great student, right? I'm a great student. So I want to share with you the biggest thing. I can't take any of this with me. I help so many people, and the stories I could give you, I help so many people get a house with no money down. I just helped. She is a manager at Bradenton Beach. Wonderful, wonderful friend of mine. She actually, today she's a friend. She wrote a beautiful letter, and she got involved with the wrong people. She got involved with drugs. She got a felony. She could never sell insurance. She got a felony because the person she got involved with got her hooked on drugs, got her hooked doing the bad things, selling her body, like really bad stuff. And her name is AJ, and she wrote this in a letter. And so 10 years ago, she decides to get sober. She ends up being the president of Alcoholics Anonymous down in Bradenton Beach. I have a property down there. And so I always stay at her Marriott, and she didn't own a house, and she's struggling. And they to run the entire Marriott, she only makes $80,000 a year, which is nothing. So she's struggling. So I said, and then she told me about her rent. Her rent was like $1,600. And I just quickly Zilla'd, my wife and I, Melissa heads the nonprofit, the mortgage side. So Melissa and I Zillow, and we're like, there's a condo down the street. And that condo is $150K. And we can get you in that condo for $1,300 a month. You'll save $300 a month. The best part's this: your rent's never going to increase. You'll have an asset in 7 years. Everything's going to be great. And it was hard. It was hard. We did it for her, but I'm going to tell you how hard it was. It was so hard because, believe it or not, the condominium has to approve you to be a resident. And they said, you're a felon. And I'm sitting there having a meeting with the board saying she was a felon for these reasons. She's not going to come in your house in the middle of the night and steal from you. So what happened was there were too many. When we finally got the approval from the board, watch this really quick story. They said, the bank came back and changed their mind. They said, well, now we're not going to loan you the money because too many people own too many apartments at condos. So when they vote, the voting's going to be out of whack. I said, well, what's the ratio? They're like, one of the people in there owns 4 condos, too many. I said, give me their number. I called them. I bought the 4 condos so she can get into the house. Right. So one, it's a great investment. Okay. Because they're $150,000 a piece. The rent rates, the rental rates on it, because the money I put down is good. But here's the point that I'm saying to you. She wrote me this letter, and that letter, I mean, when I think back on life, my quiet times, that's the stuff that truly impacts me. On top of every life that I can change. I'm selling everybody right now. If you go to PinedaAcademy.com, you can give a donation. Anybody that gives a donation of more than $500, that's to yourself. You're helping a person you're paying for their appraisal, you're paying for their survey, you're paying for their down payment in some cases. But I decided today, I told my wife I was going to do this off rip. I said, you know what? If you donate $500, I'm going to give you a private consultation. I'll give you a minimum of 30 minutes, a maximum of 1 hour, and I will truly one-on-one shape your life. And I can do that. Again, I can't tell you everything. Tony Robbins worth $1 billion. He's a billionaire. I'm not a billionaire, guys, but I'm well on my way to making $100 million, and it's easy. I'm 51 years old. It's easy. I'm willing to do that, but I'm going to give you all one very big nugget. Ready? And that's PinedaAcademy.com. I'll give you one big nugget. Ready, guys? Rapport. Every salesperson screws this up, and I hate this because it goes against my mentor, Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins is a speed reader, guys. Sometimes you miss it, okay? He wrote the book Money. In it, he was wrong about one thing that I found, and I was upset when I found it, but I wasn't the only one to find it. Peter Maluk of Creative Planning found it. So he called Tony and said, Tony, much respect. You're a billionaire, but you read that wrong. That doesn't exist. And so they wrote a book together called Unshakable. Imagine Tony, amazing. Tony Robbins. But he extrapolated all, he's obviously a billionaire. He took all the financial information, goes, this is how it works. I wrote a book called Money. And then he was told he was wrong. And Peter Mallouk writes a book with him, Let's Make It Right. So in the book Unshakable, he says, I was wrong. Here's what's right. I think that's incredible, right? Well, he was wrong about another thing. When Tony was in his 20s, really tall and gangly, he's the reason why everyone on earth thinks that rapport is mirror and match. So right now, guys, Jimmy, I got a pen. You got a pen? I don't have a pen. I'm going to pretend it's a pen. We're going to pretend here. Let's see. You can't see my hands. Let's just try. There you go. That's Grady. Now look at this, guys. This is what, thank you, Jimmy. This is Grady right now, like this, right? So this is what Tony says. I gotta, and then I have to mirror his breathing. His smile. That's mirror and matching.
Okay.
That's so off. That's not rapport, guys. Rapport is this. If rapport is not this, Grady says he likes cat. I love cats. I hate cats. I don't hate cats, guys. I'm just saying, right? I love cats. Oh, Grady says he loves football. I love football. Everyone has screwed up rapport, and it's Tony's fault, okay? Because then everyone, and people forget where they get knowledge from, by the way. They forget where they get knowledge from, and then they author it themselves. Let me rehabilitate all of you with what I've already taught you to be successful. If I did my job right with fear, greed, duty, pride, envy, comfort, and security, if I did my job right, what I got you to do, Judy, Daryl, what I got you to do is get the customer, your person that you're presenting to talk about their past. When you Google the word rapport, go to the etymology. Etymology is where it comes from. The etymology of the word rapport is to bring back. It's Latin for bring back. What you have to do to your customers, bring them back, and you have to do it by bringing them back to a story that they're willing to tell you. Now, listen, you're not going to get any credit when you talk to Chatty Cathy, who's going to tell you their whole life story. You get no credit for that because they're telling everybody at the local supermarket their full story because nobody listens to them anyway. I'm talking about the guy that is your whale, the guy that doesn't talk to anybody. When you can get him to tell you stories, the younger the story, Grady, the more successful you're going to be. Now, when you become a master at this, take this the right way. These people will voluntarily tell you on the doll where they were touched. And I'm not doing it for that reason. What I'm saying is this. They only say that stuff, Grady, to people they trust. When I get there on my discovery, the product I'm selling is irrelevant. They already bought the product. They bought the product. I went on True Talk and Mike was asking me, how do you handle this objection? I don't get it. You listen to my sales call. I got them all recorded. I don't get that because my discovery is so deep. Well, then how do you get through the discovery? You get through the discovery because you refuse to move on until you get there. I'm going to give you a couple shields, guys, because I want you guys to use this tonight on the phone and tell Grady, chime in with Grady. Grady, reach back out to me. Tell me how they did. Here's what you're going to do when you get on the phone tonight. Those questions that I put you through in sales, see, I didn't want to just tell you. I wanted you to train. So I can't tell you, oh, let's go to the gym and do push-ups. I wanted you to do the push-ups. And by you doing the work on yourself, at the last question, when I asked you, if I could take all the financial stress you feel off your plate, what would you be willing to do for that? If that question worked on you, then boom, there it is. Got it? And so now it's your job to duplicate that, lift up the bag, do it exactly as I did it, duplicate that, and you'll be successful. But what's going to happen to all of you today, right now, it's 4:12. And see, I only have to go because I have to coach my son's basketball team, just so you know, guys. So, but let me give this to you quickly because it's worth it and you're all worth it. So let me give it to you. When you hit question 1, that's easy. It kind of sounds like an application question. You hit question 2. Some of the questions don't sound like proper questions that an insurance agent should be asking. Here is your shield. You need a shield. Here's your shield. You hide behind this shield. Are you ready? Because I want to do my job right. So you tell them, because I want to do my job right. Here's my most natural one. Because I love people. Man, I just love stories. I love people, right? And then now here's a third party story. Everyone here knows somebody who died, a client. So you tell that story. Just recently in my office, Jacob Mackey had a customer. Brian May actually had a customer where they, it was Saturday. They took the quote. They said, I want to think about it. They died. The daughter picked up the phone. They died. Could have been protected, right? So they died. And my point is that time doesn't wait for anybody. And you share your third party story. Look, so it's a little different. Let me just And honesty is the best policy, guys. I just went with this training. This Filipino guy, blonde hair, he was so exciting. It's just insurance, talking about insurance. Most people think insurance is boring, but he shared a story about somebody who just died. And the reason why they didn't make the policy happen is because, he pinned it down to, he didn't get to know his customer. So for me, I want to do things different. I want to get to know you. That's your shield. So when you ask an awkward question, like down at the bottom, who relies on you? And tell me about them. You might get kickback because you're going to do it wrong, right? Because you haven't practiced. You're not a master at it. You're going to be like, who relies on you, right? Whatever it is, right? And so, but people like Harold, you'll pull that off tonight, Harold. Do that today, right? Say, hey, bro, and just do Harold style. Do it with your braids and stuff. Be like, hey, bro, so who relies on you? And then when they tell you, be like, tell me about them. They'll tell you. But if you ask the question, who relies on you? Tell me about them. And they're like, then you got to go back on and you got to justify why, because I want to do my job right. And hit a third party story. A guy in the office, their family just died. And literally, we went through this whole thing and we realized it's because we're not getting to know our people. So listen, I don't want to be your insurance agent. If that's what you want, then just leave. I actually want to get to know you because I want to protect everyone that you know and love. Obviously, it's going to benefit me, but here's the best part. You don't pay me. You're not the one who pays me. The insurance carrier pays me. That's that. So I just want to give you guys that as a free nugget that one, rehabilitate what rapport is. Rapport is not you like cats, I like cats. Okay. Rapport is 100%. That's a book. You use chat, Alexandria Rosasak. I can't Rosasak. Why are you here? I think, oh, beautiful, wonderful. Good job. You get kudos. Donate.
Everyone screenshot that.
Yeah, donate and I'll give you a one-on-one. And it's because I care about people so much, Grady. That's why. But I wanted to give that to you guys because that's the reason most people failed, because they think that how do we make a connection? Everything's emotional. How do we make a connection? And they think it's about getting, it's not. It's just literally talking about the past, right? So those are just a few extra nuggets. Grady, anything else? I'm open. Any other questions?
I don't even know. So we're going to keep going. And we can do two things. We can pause here, or I'm open to it. If you're open to it, 100% open to it. Is there room for a John Pineda part 2 next week?
I'd have to charge. You'd have to pay the nonprofit, Grady.
I'll donate to the nonprofit if we can get you for next week.
Listen, you DM me, we'll donate the nonprofit. And I really do. We help 50 families every month. And I'll tell you what, some of these people are in bad environments. Some of the kids, this is why Family First Life was so important to me, because when Sean Mikes went on the 8%er and he said that there were kids that were just in bad environments and he tried to get them out and they wouldn't move. The state wouldn't move the kids. And then they got molested. They got hurt. And he's like, I can't do this job anymore. Well, I'm in a position, at least in the finance side. And look, numbers for most people are boring. I love numbers, right? So, that's it. Just getting the help that they need. And there's so many programs out there that people don't know. You can get a house. And by the way, every single person here, the reason why you need to make $30,000 net, the reason why you need to keep your personal expense under $3,000, because you're going to be buying a house as a self-employed person. You're going to do your diligent job as a good steward of cash, and you're going to pay the least in taxes. Listen, tax evasion is against the law. Tax avoidance is your constitutional right. So by avoiding all your taxes, you should pay 10%. I believe in 10% fair tax. You make $1 million. Yeah, seriously, right? You make $1 million, you should pay $100,000. That's your tax. And so, and you're obviously diverting your assets, but the tax is a whole different story. But check this out, right? So my point to you is that you need to save up that money because you need to put 20% down. And you'll do it. If anybody lives in Florida, actually, I've limited my practice for mortgages, but for Florida, for Texas, for California, if you guys live in those states, we can help you guys. But here's the point. You want to buy the property using just your bank statements. That's it. And your bank's not going to tell you that. Your bank's Chase Bank, they're not going to do that. They have a specific client set that they want to work with. We only need 12 months of your bank statements, and whatever you put in your personal bank statements is your income, which imagine that. That's crazy. Because if you're bringing in 40 grand a month, 50 grand a month, doesn't matter. They don't ask how much you pay in leads. You're bringing in 50 grand a month. Guess what? That if you're bringing 100 grand a month, you make $1.2 million a year for bank statements. Because the secret here, you need to show as much income as possible so you can buy as much real estate. And guys, it doesn't matter about when to buy. There is no such thing as timing. If I share this with you, the rich buy every single time. Good, we make killings during crash markets. But if I taught you something called tax harvest, you would never be afraid to buy a piece of property or an investment at any moment in time. But that being said, Grady, could we do a part 2? I mean, reach out to me and then reach out to me and we'll
look at the crowd thing. There's 160 people on here right now. Could we get
there? Are you serious? How do you see that number? I don't see the number. That's exciting.
Yeah, we gotta. Yeah, they've been holding too. People want more. The
Let's
people
go.
want.
All right, listen. I will
Look at
give
your
you
camera right
right
now.
now.
Look, just
No,
take a
no,
look.
no. I'm gonna give you right. Where's it say? But here, I'll do this.
Your phone.
It's
Look at your
419.
calendar.
No. I'll give you this. I'll give you this right now. And as a close, take what you can get. It's 419. I'll give you any question speed round. I will give you until 435 right now.
Who's got? Yeah, drop your question.
Wait. Really quick. Caleb, Beverly, I want to share this with you. I'm closing you. No, I really do have to do basketball coaching, but Grady, I created time urgency. Do you see how I did it? I did it to Grady. Guys, Grady's my customer. He was the first one in. See? I earned the right to ask for money. I asked you all for $500, which is a drop in the bucket for all of us. Plus, it's straightforward. If you spent $500 with me, you would die because we would change your life. And I honestly, I don't have time for you. Kid you not. My calendar's booked. But look at the time urgency I created and look how much your team wants to know more. This is it, guys. Become so valuable. Create an urgency bucket that customer will not hang up. By the way, my wife's Italian. She cooks beautiful lasagna. And I tell people every day when I have to go, listen, my wife's cooking lasagna tonight. I got to go. And of course, look, I promised you till 4. Great, it's 4:20. I'm going to just tell you what they always telling me, right? They always say, John, I'll tell this to John Bennett. They always say, tell your wife, thank you for letting us have you. And I hope your lasagna is not cold. Something along those lines. Do you understand? So when you close, you have to control the entire tempo and pitch, but you can only do that if you commit. Because here's the thing. Here's what people don't get. Don't commit to urgent guy. Don't commit to urgent gal. Don't commit to the people in a rush because you're going to screw up the policy. 1, 2, they're never going to buy. You've wasted your time. And I'm not going to waste my time. And so these are small tests that I do. Even, watch this, even the urgency that I said you from the beginning, replay the tape. You'll see what I've done. I didn't waste one moment. I said, Grady, is there a way? And you make it look like a new unit at a time. I say that all the time, but I made it look so, is there a way? I've never been on this. Can I kick them off? It's a Jay-Z, Kevin Durant. Who's the guy that plays Iron Man? Robert Downey Jr. See that? That's the pitch. That's how you say it every time. You duplicate. It's every time. I know who plays Iron Man. I love Robert Downey Jr., but I let them answer it. Got it? It was Kevin Durant. It was Jay-Z. It was Will Smith. And who's the guy that plays Iron Man? And Robert Downey Jr. Then I know you're in. See? So these are all little tests.
They're too much in love with you right now to ask a question. So I'm going to ask this a very important question.
I love you guys. Thank you, guys.
Okay, so you have an agency selling 1.2 million a month. Because a lot of these guys, we get an amalgamation of people, right? There's existing agents who are crushing it, who just want to pick out a few nuggets. There's new agents that are looking for inspiration to buy leads and dial the phone. There's middle tier agents, right? So I always cater a lot of these towards newer agents because the top agents want to grow a team and the new agents need to get going. Yeah. So what are you doing to get people going? Not so much recruiting because these people are already in, and recruiting is just having conversations with people who want to better their life. Yeah, you should do it. You should not do it. It's up to you. Mm-hmm. But once they're in, like got contracting done, or is there something that happens during that contracting period of time that's unique to you that's allowing them to get ramped up? Then as soon as they get a green light in America, they're dialing. Like, what are you doing to get people up, running, and rolling fast?
Okay. I have people that I love and trust that are the most amazing people on earth. And it's not because they're related to me. It's because I train champions. And my sons, Andrew and Daniel, and the people that we brought on board, Evan Saji, Diego Rivera, my top leaders that came into this thing that I took to Champions Club, Skyland Pampora, Josh Najib, these guys that are proving themselves, even the newer guys that are coming in, John Paul Satish and Rodrigo, these newer guys are coming in, and even Rodrigo's sister, Adriana, these people are coming in and proving that the system works. The more people in your environment that has that actually run a duplicatable system. So for you, step one, you need to follow a system that's duplicatable. That's step one. Once you follow a system that's duplicatable, you accept nothing less. Where people screw up in this job, Grady, I think that they accept the guy that wants to do this, and I don't know how many of you guys have offices. I have an office, right? I bought the building for this because I have a belief system. At home work doesn't work. Because why? I'm rich and I don't work from home successfully because the fridge is there and my move room's there. My hot tub's there. My dog is pretty cool to chill out with. And you always make, and then you know who else screws me up? You know who screws me up all the time? The service stand workers. You see how I am, right? I'm so personable. Yeah. I actually love people's story. My pool guy comes, I'm on a 15-minute conversation with the pool guy. My lawn guy comes, like, it's like the UPS guy, right? And they all love me. We're all buddies. So I have tons of stories about their past who have tons of rapport. So they're friends of mine, right? And so they screw me up. So at-home work doesn't work. So number one for me, you have to have an environment. Don't break your bank to do it. Don't break your lease. Don't break your personal budget to do it. But number two, you have to be realistic about, you can't come here on your last dime, guys. This isn't a job. This is the power of takeaway. This isn't a job. This is an opportunity. You can't come here on your last dime. That's not going to work. Sorry. You're not going to buy a house unless you put 20% down if you're self-employed. Right. So even a house, no money down, you have to pay for an appraisal. So I tell them that from the beginning. The appraisal is about $495. That's where my nonprofit covers that for them. But here's my point. You have to be realistic about your start date. If that means you can't start right now, then don't start. Because here's the thing. Mutual of Omaha has been around for 179 years. They're going to be here for 179 years more. We'll be fine. We're going to still keep selling insurance. You have to be prepared to take this opportunity. If you're not successful in the first 30 days, it's because you weren't prepared to take the opportunity. Period. End of story. And it's okay to tell that person you're not ready. So the most successful thing that I like to do is when I meet this new recruit that's excited is let them know you're not ready. I got a guy right now. He works at a big Fortune 500 company. He makes $25,000 a month right now as a kid. And my son Andrew just interviewed him. And he has all these expectations about what the business is. My son hit him hard. He's like, bro, it's a 9-month advance. It's a 20% kickback rate. There's leads you have to buy $6,000, $10,000 a month. Broke the kid in half. Why? Right expectations. Do I think he's going to come back? Not sure. But when he comes back, he's going to be ready to invest in himself. Because guys, all of you listening to me, you think that waking up and making $1 million is easy. If you've done it before, great. I say this. If you don't have $10 million that you can put on the table today by either liquidating assets or just having cash, because today 10 million is $1 million. That's the truth because of inflation. If you don't have $10 million today, take this the right way. You think wrong, period. So if you want to be successful on this journey, you have to accept the idea that somebody else is thinking right, and you have to follow that system because too many people walk in and they immediately make a new system. Why? Grady, you're successful. Your recruiting system works. The Grady Polson, the American agency, it works. Why would I join American agency and immediately think I'm so hot stuff that I'm going to change stuff? What did I do so hot in my life, right? That I'm going to be the next big Grady. Why do people do that? It's just that nature of trying to build a better mousetrap. But this is where humility sets in. You're allowed to build a better mousetrap, but only after you ran that wheel. And let me tell you something. Like when I first came in, I came in under a really tyrannical upline. I spent $130,000 in a 2-month period of time buying leads from this tyrannical upline. And I didn't try to change that. And I was very successful, but the numbers weren't quite right. And I'm used to owning a lot of businesses. I was expecting a better profit margin. I was at least expecting 1 to 3, and it wasn't happening. I'm like 1 to 2, 1. My first month, I was 1, 1, 1, 1. And I was like, this isn't right. Then I built a better mousetrap, but with humility, I'm a great student. You first have to be a student of the game. And if you're a student of the game, I promise you, you're going to be successful in your first 30 days. And once you have success, you have a voice at the table. You can now join the roundtable discussion and you could tell me, we should buy these leads or we should sell this product only after you prove success. And by the way, 30 days is just makes sure that I get the hook in you. And now you could stay, because for you guys, Google's right. Insurance is the most successful place you're going to become a multimillionaire because there's products that have residuals. And by the way, they're talking about all kinds of insurance, property, casualty, all these different things. But the reason why you can become so rich here is they're giving you a 9-month advance. Here's the problem. People fail because they don't know what to do with 9 months of money that's not theirs. So this conversation I'm having with you, that is how I recruit. So when you start this door, wasn't bells and whistles. It was the real reality that you've probably failed at everything you've done. You're going to fail here unless you believe this. And if they believe that, then we could take step 1. It's a sobering effect, right? It's a sobering calm. But it's just the reality, because what will not happen, you won't work with John Pineda and be at the end of that rainbow and be like, it didn't work. That'll never happen because it works. It works. Follow me. I'm up at 4:30 every day. Follow me. It works. It works. I'm 7 days a week. It works, guys. I promise you it works.
Fantastic. So, I mean, yes, all that. What do you? Are they in the office dialing bronze
Hell
leads?
yeah. Open
Are
the
they?
door.
You
Well,
give
they're
them a
all in the car
script.
right now. Open that door.
IULs only.
Open the door. Open the door. Boom. Hey guys, scream. Scream. Get up and scream. Can you see them? Yeah.
Yep.
If I took the camera out there, yeah, there's about 50 guys out there right now. So yeah, what are they doing? Yeah, we're doing IUL only because we don't waste time. We're following our general, which is Andrew Pineda. It's 10,000 kicks, guys. It's 10,000 kicks. You got it. You can't. Mortgage protection is just term. Great. Final expense is dealing with a lot of older people that couldn't even do a HIPAA disclosure, in my opinion. I've tried that before. My past life, it doesn't work. IUL is the end goal. It is the sexiest thing in the world. That's it. And so, by the way, that makes you the fastest money because I only deal with simplified issue too. So those are the other parts too. But at the end of the day too, I like what you said, Grady, about unlocking secrets. Guys, first off, there's 332 million Americans. Now, when you subtract the kids and the elderly that can only get final expense, there's literally 100 million people that have no insurance of any sort whatsoever that they're not paying for, because some people have insurance. A lot of people have insurance from work. There's 100 million people. And man, I did the math. Grady, I love math. I love numbers. You realize we would have to literally have, because the ratios are so skewed. We could literally grow to an army of 1 million people and we could all still be millionaires. Right. So the market is that big. And I'm sharing that with you. But at the end of the day, yeah, you got to focus on what to me, you got to focus on what's most saleable. And the most saleable thing in this entire bit, because I was licensed in 2009, I was doing mortgage protection for the mortgage loans that we were doing. But it's not sexy, and people will drop that. It's not sexy. You get the best of both worlds. You get protection. I get to protect the people I love. So let's say you're the person that you're an empath, you're empathetic, you care about people. Okay, well then protection is important. So go ahead and protect them with the protection portion. But most people looking for an IUL is also greed, because most people don't like insurance because it does nothing for me while I'm alive today. So the Indexed Universal Life product is the number one product in the world. But the only thing is this: you cannot oversell the product, because 50% of the people in America will fail to qualify, just as a rough thumb, because most people are unhealthy and they're not going to qualify. So you can't oversell the product, and you got to drop seeds in the beginning and let them know in the beginning that, yeah, they're calling about this. We advertise for it. We're calling about this IUL. Well, listen, have you heard of the baby IUL? Just throw it out there. Say baby IUL. Oh, I was just wondering if you knew. And then you go sell, right? And you keep doing a deep discovery about their medical, head, heart, lungs, cancer. Keep talking about them. And then when they fail for the IUL, you need to be able to pivot. And if they won't buy a true stage from you, if they won't buy a whole product from you, it's because you oversold IUL and you didn't talk him off that ledge, and you oversold it before you found out the guy had HIV or cancer. Got it?
Yeah.
You know what's surreal for me? Watching your videos so much, to be live with Grady. Grady's the GOAT. Yell out there, guys. Grady, GOAT. No, that's exciting to me. That I just hit a surreal moment that I really liked.
John, this has been fantastic for me as well, and everyone on here, and everyone who's going to watch these YouTube videos that we're going to chop up and share all over the inner sphere. But you're a powerhouse, man. You're an energetic person with passion, desire to impact and lead, and a heart of gold. And it's apparent. And anyone who's been on this call has been significantly impacted by someone who has been through the mud, muck, bloodied their knuckles, knees, and gotten sand in their eyes with no water to wash it out, and figured out a way to make it happen. And I'm just grateful for you, man. I'm grateful that you found FFL. I'm grateful that you were, your boys were insightful enough to push you to want to get in this, because we are so much better with you.
Thank you.
And that office is so lucky to have you, and this industry is lucky to have you as well.
Say that again. Sometimes I think they forget because they're my own children. Say it again, because they're office. Say it again. Say it one more time for me.
They are so, everyone that is in your bubble, John, is lucky to be around you, bro. And
you
it's
hear that, kids.
Yeah,
you hear that, kids. I'm doing that for my own kids. Okay, go.
It's good. No, it's true, and it's difficult. My as my children as well. They're like, "What do you do all day?" And I'm like, well, I don't know. I'm picking you up from school. You're welcome. You're late. And I'm like, okay, I was just talking to some people about how to, like, so it's just.
I appreciate you. I appreciate all the good words you said. I did want to make one clarification. When I charge people $3,995 to do coaching, It never goes to me. It's actually for the nonprofit. You want to talk about secrets? Everyone's want to know. Everyone that has always known me has always wanted to know how I did it. And I didn't decide to unlock it until I opened my nonprofit. So 100% of the funds goes towards the nonprofit. And if you know anything about a 501c3, heavily regulated by the IRS, every single dollar goes to these people and these folks. And I'll tell you what, if I can make an impact on you, all you're doing above and beyond you advancing your own family and life, you're literally helping people get out of really bad scenarios where little kids should never have to experience what they experience. And they didn't choose to be in this world, guys. If you know a kid that's been hurt by drugs or just sexual molestation, guys, they don't deserve it. And a lot of times the biggest devil in the room is poverty. My mom used to think, and she was a pious woman, she used to think, Grady, that money is the root of all evil. And by the way, for all of you, here's one tiny bonus lesson. I know I've got a minute left, but I'm gonna go over time. I want you all today to think about this. If you have your pad, write this down. I promise you the reason why you stop yourself from success is this, and write this down. You have wealth wounds. You have things, you have a negative association to money, so you can never have it. And here's how you fix it. Here's one of my wealth wounds. I was just before I was 21. Now, remember, I bought that house when I was 16 years old, my brother's, and I'd made some money. I'm making $1,000 a week selling over the phone. I'm 15 years old, making $1,000 a week. And so with inflation, we calculate it's like $3,000 a week. I'm 15 years old doing that. How come I wasn't a millionaire yet, Grady? You want to talk about impatience? If I bought a house and flipped it and I was 15, 16, why wasn't I a millionaire by the time I was 17, 18, 19, 20? Why did it take me all those years, 21? Because it was wealth wounds. So I stopped, guys. You have to stop. You have to stop trying to do the new thing until you heal this one thing. And for me, I'll give an example. I grew up in the Philippines. So I'm 3 years old. My grandmother, they tell me this story, right? She used to hit my hand all the time. I would take the pesos, the coins, like the quarters. Always put it in my mouth. She would hit my hand. Jonathan, do not put that money in your mouth. Money is dirty. Dirty. Well, guys, how am I ever going to be rich if money's dirty? Do you understand that? So all of you today, the number one thing you do before you get on your phone zone and we make massive impact and sell people with the 7 dominant buying motives, do yourself a favor. Go as far back in the past as you could and try to find all the times that somebody told you something about money that was negative. Money's dirty. Money's hard to come by. My mom gave me so many, Grady. Money's hard to come by. Money doesn't grow on trees. Money is the root of all evil, right? And by the way, I grew up Christian. And so one of the things I'd lost a guy. He was a really good producer, and I lost him because his mother wouldn't let him work here. He was a younger kid in his 20s, but his mother had a lot of impact on him. And she kept saying to him that it's easier for a rich man to get through the eye of a needle, right? Than for a camel to get through the eye of a needle than a rich man to go to heaven. And what's interesting is this, and I grew up and I did everything in my confirmation. If you read the Bible, and not to get religious, but just say this is what the reason he couldn't work here, because it's easier for that camel to go through the eye of the needle than a rich man to go to heaven. There's a second sentence. Unless you believe in Jesus as your Lord and Savior. That's it. I was like, cheat code. That's it. Then you could be rich. But that's my point, Grady. The next reason why you have talented people that can't make it, and it's crazy because they may make 60, 70, 80, 100 grand a year in a job, W-2 job, but they can't make it self-employed. They have too many wealth wounds. So there's a lot of work. There's tool time that the human brain needs to get to and your heart needs to repair to. But I encourage everyone out there, find your wealth wounds. Find the top 3. It's only 3. Some of you use only 1. Find the top 2 or 3 things that mom, dad, sister, cousin growing up, even today, current husband, current wife, says about money. That's bad. You don't need that much. That's like this, Grady. When you hear people say you don't need that much, that's like this. That's like you working at, you always, I hear this more from women than men. The girl goes to the gym. She sees the girl on steroids. It's just huge. And the girl says, never worked out a day in her life. And she says, I don't want to get that big. You couldn't if you tried. You couldn't if you tried. Right? So it's like that. It's like, you don't need that much money. And that stuff hurts you. So I just wanted to give you guys that because sometimes you have to take a step back before you move forward. But this business, this industry, if you don't make it here, I promise you, this is what you need to do. Never try self-employment again, because it's not this business that's broken. It's you didn't have the right mindset. So go back to your books, read the E-Myth by Michael Gerber, read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, get your business acumen on lockdown, then come back and try. But it wasn't the business, guys.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Everybody, JP in the chats
Oh,
below.
thank you guys. I
Please
appreciate you guys.
show John some love. John, thank you so much.
You're welcome, Grady.
Thank you
You're
for your
welcome.
time, your passion, your heart, your life's experience, and everything you just shared with us today. We got to ask, what's the goal, monthly goal by the end of the year?
Well, you know what? I'm telling you right now that I truly believe in my heart that this agency that we're building, I mean, it's a big goal, but I when I started, I always have a target. I don't do anything on accident. When I started this, I said, I'm going to give you guys 10 years. I was 50 when I started. I'm 51 now. I said, I'm going to give you guys 10 years and I'll give you my best. I said this to my sons. So I'm going to do this till I'm 60. I think that we're $1 billion agency by the time I'm 60. And I think that the growth, and I'm watching patterns and trends, just like Great Expectations. I'm watching successful people. Obviously, when you see people like Patrick Bet-David and what he did with his company, $300 million, when you do the research, you realize that this stuff is doable. The people need the product. And, you know, like anything in the world, guys, you're the next thing. Right? You're the next thing. Like, you know, Tony Robbins is going to get old. Somebody needs to take his place. You're the next thing, guys. For every single person that's on stage, you know, that's getting their awards, been doing this for a long time. You're the next thing, guys. Get ready for it and prepare. Work your day every day, understanding that at any moment in time, each and every one of you will be called upon to lead. If you act like that, it will just happen. And that's the point. And so the next thing for us is just, and I don't have a number for when it's going to happen. I know that there's a great book, guys, you guys should all get. It's called Outlier. And in Outlier, Malcolm Gladwell, he talks about that curve, right? Think about a cell phone. Like when the cell phones first came out, it was the early adopters that had the cell phone. Nobody had a cell phone. There was a flip phone, a cell phone. And think about your grandfather. Go way back. Think about the first time you heard about a cell phone. Your grandfather, for some of these kids online, they don't know they grew up with this. But for me, it's like, or how about this? Think about the first time you heard about AI. Think about the first time you heard about chat. Who was the first person to tell you about chat? Go back. Think about the first time you learned about Bitcoin. Isn't it true? The person who told you about Bitcoin made it complicated. It was like, there's a car, has an engine, has oil, has spark plugs. And then in that car, and what's the truth? You just get in a car and just start it, right? So they went the complicated route because they didn't know any other way to explain it to you. And my point to you is that I'm making is this. Who was the first person to tell you about Chat GBT? What's your relationship with that person? How did you first? And that's called an early adopter. And so that early adopter, those first people that created it, right? Elon Musk, it was a nonprofit firm. He created that. Then it goes on to the next group of people. That next group of people, after the pioneers are first, are the early adopters. After the early adopters, once you get to the point where early adopters do it, you get this critical mass and then you just explode. And I think that even for all the success that Family First Life has done, I'm here, and take this in a bold way. I know we're going to explode because I showed up, and I'm just saying that the right way, right? Seriously, we're going to explode because I'm here and I love the place and I'm not going anywhere. And I'm not going anywhere for 9 years, Sean. You got me for 9 years. And so for 9 years, we're going to explode. So I think that me personally, this agency that I'm building will be $1 billion agency inside of 9 years, period. End of story. And so that's why I wake up at 4:30 in the morning. I have that purpose. That's why I go to bed at midnight. And I have other businesses too, but those other businesses are on lockdown. It's just like autopilot. And so this is my new fun thing. This is the new box that it's the Rubik's Cube that everything keeps changing, right? So that's the most fun. So that's where I'm headed.
I love it, John. We got to go, but I appreciate the heck out of you. You are, I'm cheering you on, man. I'm ready to watch, and I got front row seats. I'll keep buying, and we're gonna get some Pineda Academies pushed out as well. So
thank you. I appreciate you guys.
JP again, fill it up.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
I wish you all the very best success, guys. Have a wonderful day.
All right, man. Have a great day.
Absolutely.